All right, so do you know how to build a foundation coming from these type of circumstances? And would you be willing to build a foundation on what you've lived through, or maybe, just in case you want to call it, escaped from these type of lifestyles?
I believe all of your dating experiences, situationships, relationships, baby mama, baby daddy, whatever, teach you a lot about yourself and what you do like and what you don't like, right? And so that's why I don't understand people who only date one person at a time. Mainly because I feel like, how do you know what you really like if the only option you have is coming from one person? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have a large range of things to say, okay, well, this is what I do like, this is what I don't like. Now, granted, it can still be done, but I believe dating multiple people, I don't want to say is important, but I feel like if you're not in an exclusive relationship, I think the smart thing to do is date a few people at a time. That's how you get to know yourself. That's how you get to know what you believe in a relationship. For example, first of all, let's be clear. The only difference between a situationship and a relationship is, at the end of the day, I'm able to say, we don't go together. That's really it a lot of the time, if we being honest.
Okay, can I take you to task?
Yeah.
All right, so let's do it like this, right? In my culture, we like to call dating and raising somebody to be somebody who's responsible for somebody else's life and livelihood fertile soil. And we refer to that a lot because men are supposed to be farmers and women are supposed to be more soil based, essentially.
Okay.
Everything that you pour into her, she'll give you back, and it'll nourish your soul, and so on and so forth. So
You
can
reap what
keep
you sow.
So you can keep sowing the land, and so right, you can only put a seed in the dirt once, and then it's gonna sprout.
Right.
Now you can move the plant to some more fertile dirt, but it already sprouted.
Right.
It took that soil to do that. So when we talk about being in a relationship and whatever else, or a situationship or a hookup, bad soil doesn't help plants grow correctly. So a lot of people like to refer to things like the rose that sprang from concrete. The rose that sprang from concrete is not as healthy as a regular rose that grew up in some dirt.
Absolutely not. But you learned a damn good lesson from the rose that grew from the concrete. So that when you do go over to that rose that was raised in a healthy environment, you know how to treat it now.
No, what you learn from that more is the rose that grew from concrete is more like a weed as opposed to the roses that grew from dirt. Because the rose that grew from concrete had to survive in an environment where survival was very little. So when you put it next to plants that were grown with love, water, care, and they just came up naturally without having
That's
to
a really
be
good analogy.
right, without having to be on a dyer's bed trying to figure
They
it
have
out.
more of a chance of survival.
Yeah, the more chance of survival, and they nurture things better. The rose that came from concrete is a weed, essentially.
A struggle plant.
Not a struggle plant. It is a weed. It is. Although you can see it as a plant, it really is a weed.
Okay.
It's gonna strangle out all the other things that were healthy around it because that is foreign to it. It is. Why does it pour into this person? Why does it do this? Why does it do this? All this plant has ever done is take. It had to take nourishment, it had to take this, it had to take that. Every chance that it got, it reached for the sunlight. Once it gets around plants that aren't trying to kill it and stuff, like if you go into any type of forest and stuff, all of the trees, roots intersect, touch each other, and it's in the ecosystem, it thrives. It works well. The rose that grew from concrete isn't in an ecosystem.
So relate that back to, because I
Okay, so what I'm saying essentially is,
Uh-huh.
when I ask you, can you build a foundation from what you came from,
Yes.
what you lived to, or what you escaped? The rose that grew from concrete had to escape. The roses that lived in an environment that was tailored to success usually do better in situations that are successful. So as you can imagine, we have a conversation a lot of time about why these white women getting married fresh out of college and the black women are taking 30s, 40s and stuff. And although you don't get on your knee and propose to a man,
Never.
exactly, although that's not your responsibility, at some point, as soon as you get to a point where you should be at marrying age and things like that, it shouldn't be a challenge to be a wife. It shouldn't be I go into a relationship to be a wife and all the situationships things pop back up into my relationship where I can get this from somebody else. I can do this with myself. I can do bad all by myself. A lot of people like to put numbers on things like, I'm never going 50-50 with a man. You have to go 100-100 with a person, because if you're not putting the full effort into it and I'm not putting the full effort into it, we can never grow together. Mm-hmm. Right? If I'm not taking care of you, if I'm not able to reciprocate the right way with you, and it's not a money thing, because if it was just money, any rich person we had to make a relationship work. It's not just an emotional thing, because there are men who are more emotional than women, and the women are like, these niggas is sassy.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's not that. There's something else missing. You got to understand a person, what they've been through, what they've come through, and we have a culture where we feel that it's wrong to ask women, what have you been through with this last person? Who was your last ex? What was he like? What traumas did you bring over from that?
I don't believe in telling a man what another man has put me through.
You need to have those conversations. Imagine this. The one person whom you're supposed to always rely on and always be able to come back to is the one person you tell nothing to. How do you foster a good relationship from that if you say communication is the most important thing in that relationship?
I just don't believe.
The red flags that send you off, he knows nothing about because you haven't been able to tell him anything.
Well, don't give me none.
And a lot of men are more alike than they are dissimilar. They're more similar than dissimilar. Men mostly say men are easy to understand. Women overthink it. And men say women are overcomplicated. And the reason be because y'all overthink it. You guys are thinking of 100 things, and that man is thinking of the football game. A bag of chips. He's probably gonna scratch his nuts, drink a beer, and then call his homeboy after the game to talk shit.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of my women friends, we're in Miami. If you want a good man, go get you a Dolphins fan. Them niggas been losers my whole life, and them boys keep going back, and them boys keep staying faithful. So if you can't make it work with a Dolphins fan, you don't need to be in relationships.
There's no hope for you.
It's over for you. There's no hope.
I don't know. I just believe that any situation that you've endured before does help to navigate your way through a new situation, regardless. Like, even if I've only been in situationships my whole life, like let's say I made it all the way to 30 without ever having been in a real committed relationship. That doesn't mean that I don't know how to be in a relationship, because I've had years of practice. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. Like you said, I know what my red flags are. I know what I'm going to tolerate and what I'm not. I know what my fine lines are. So yeah, I mean, I agree with the rose analogy. I really kind of like that a little bit. But going back to the one thing you said, I just don't believe in telling no man what I've been through with other people. I don't think it's his business, number one. Number two, I think a lot of these men, or maybe it's the type of men I'm attracted to, I don't know. But I think a lot of these men want that information so they could see how far they could take it. Like, well, I might not do what the last nigga did, but bitch, I'm going to take you up and through that for sure.
So essentially, you're talking about a weed dating a weed as opposed to dating somebody who's actually fertile. But then that would be more of your relationship. That's more of your relationship choices. You're dating a taker, somebody who's predatory in all actions.
A weed and a rose shouldn't be in a relationship either, because one knows how to survive based off survival, and the one only knows love. So when you're trying to give love to somebody who has had to survive their whole life, and that's just like their whole way of life, there's no room for, like, they don't even know how to receive that from you.
I think the one fallacy we have when we have conversations like this is that we don't understand the people that we're looking at. A weed has survived because it knows how to speak to you. It knows how to survive with the minimalist amount of.
It does what it can with what it's given.
Exactly. Even if it's not giving anything, it could pretty much figure out how to creep in. So essentially, the person who you call a ladies' man is the person whom you would think of as more of a weed. He's the person who communicates with you the best. He's the person who gives you the most support. He'll be the person who knows how to send you that good morning text in a way that only you like because it'll make you smile. Everyone else is saying the same thing. It's good morning, but he'll say it just different enough today and tomorrow that it has your attention. He's the person.
And you said this is the weed doing this.
This is no. It's still a rose. He just grew from concrete.
No, exactly.
But he's a weed.
Yes.
Right. So that analogy is essentially the same. He understands how to be predatory to what you need because he understands you. Now, the person you're saying who you don't want to tell about your business and stuff because it's none of his business because he's gonna abuse you with it. If this person is taking responsibility for you and building infrastructure, everything about you he needs to know because everything about you is about him. He's invested his whole life into you. You shouldn't give a man, if this man is going to give you children, if this man is going to put a roof over your head, if this man is telling about we're going to have a family plot together, so he's planning on you being with him even in death, this man needs to know who you are. Because if he doesn't know who you are today, how are you going to grow and then be like, oh, he changed 10 years from now? Baby, you never knew him.
Yeah.
Or he never knew you.
Yeah.
So the problem is already you started the problem from the foundation. So the question comes back and answers itself. You never had a foundation to begin with. You never built it because you never gave him what he needed to know. You don't send anybody out to go build a house and they don't test the soil. You don't send anybody out to go build a city and they don't know where the water's at.
I don't know. I disagree.
So you built a city.
And not what I'm saying. Like I just disagree. I feel like there are men that will really come into your life and you could have been the whoriest whore that ever whored in your past. They don't care about that. They want to take care of you. They want to do right by you. They want to love you the way you're supposed to be loved. Like,
okay, you're still talking about the flowers that grew in the good soil. The only problem is you're the weed in that equation.
Why I gotta be the weed?
Because you are the weed. Because if they're trying to fix everything that you've had a problem with in your past, you're the weed in this. You're the weed in the equation.
Well, maybe I'm the weed. I don't know, but I always knew I was the problem anyways. So.
All right, Glo.